Hi, everybody. My name is Adeola Badmus, and let me welcome you guys to this show. This show is for Nigerian entrepreneurs who want to blow their brand, and I'm here to provide hacks on how you can do that. There are quite a lot of challenges that we go through as Nigerian entrepreneurs, and I went through those challenges. And the thing about it is, no one really tell you how this will eventually unfold, but you will learn along the way. So let's go. Today, I'll be kicking off with a bold statement, and that statement is, come closer, come closer. Most Nigerian brands, that's what we call brands, don't have a brand. What that means is that most companies in Nigeria do not have a brand, and I'm dead serious. Now, the truth is, when we are done with today's discussion, I will provide you with some toolkits that you can use to assess your brand and even other brand that you see online. Alright. So most people don't know that I actually teach. Well, that's what I do for a living. Now, when I'm in class, what usually happens is I will ask my students that what is a brand? And I usually get all manner of responses. Some people will say, a brand is your logo. Some people will say, a brand represents the colors of your company. Some people are even close. They will say, a brand is a promise. Now you're getting closer. Some people will say a brand represents your values. Now you're getting really close. Now let me cut through the crap. A brand is a reputation. And what do I mean by that? A brand is the consistency you have built over time. Now, to explain the idea that a brand is a reputation, I will use an analogy to do this. So let's assume that there's somebody in your office by the name Jide. Now on Monday, Jide wore an Ankara shirt. On Tuesday, Jide wore an Ankara jacket. On Wednesday, Jide wore Ankara jalabia. For those of you that wear jalabia to the office, God is watching you in 4D. And then every other day of the week, Jide is dressed in Ankara. Then you approach him and said, Jide, how far? He says, I do. So Jide, what's up with this Ankara that you have been wearing? He now said, oh, you are new here. This is my style. You know, Jide could easily have said, oh, this is my brand as well. Now, if you take a look at the Jide scenario, Jide has proven consistent with the Ankara outlook. So we can easily say Jide is an Ankara ambassador. Is that not so? And that's the same principle that applies to a brand. For a brand to have a reputation, the brand must be consistent over a long period of time. So why is building a reputation important? Then I have to take you back to secondary school. Remember in secondary school, imagine this. Remember the person that was the best dancer in your set. What are some of the perks that comes with being the best dancer? In my set, because the guy was the best dancer, guess what happened? He was chosen for social prefect. The thing pained me. And then all the girls were flocking over him. That reputation has given him some level of advantage and benefits. Now, how does this apply to an organization or a company? If you build a reputation, then there are perks attached to that. One, you have what we call returning customers. Positive reviews, I'll say that again. And then people will tell the brand story. Now, let me share with you a Nigerian company that has established a reputation. One of my favorite digital apps, OPay. I will say that again, OPay. So two things stood out for me with OPay. First, easy account opening. I didn't have to go to the bank. And secondly, as I started using the app, I realized that the transaction was fast. And that was critical at the point in time. OPay has built its reputation on those two key situations: easy account opening and fast transactions. And then what has happened? As we say here, the brand don't blow. And that's what I'm trying to explain to us. Alright, so now let's put your own brand to the test. You can use this test for your personal brand or for your business brand. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, do I have a reputation? You can actually check. Now, put on paper the reputation that you think you have been projecting. Have you done that? I'm waiting. So the next thing you then do is call 5 of your friends and ask them this question. Please, this is my business that I'm been running. What would you say that I'm exceptionally good at? You can ask it as regards to your business, or you can ask it as regards to your personal brand. If the response they give you match with what you have written down, then truly you have a reputation. If the response you are getting is totally different from what you have stated down, this particular podcast is for you. All hope is not lost, because I'm going to share how to build that reputation. If you have not done the test, you can pause this video and then you can come back to it. If you didn't do well in the previous test, don't kill yourself about that. It was not a perfection test. It was just an awareness test. Now you know that there's work to be done. It's time to get into the crux of this podcast, which is 3 simple steps to building your brand reputation. The first step in building a reputation is to define your desired reputation. Yeah, that's how you start. So you put on paper what you want your customer to know about you, or what you want your customer to say about you. That is what you desire for the brand to be popular for. Now that's a bit complex, but then I'll break it down. An example would be, you want them to say, we have the fastest delivery. Then that is your desired reputation. You note it down. Or you want them to say, oh, we have the best possible price in the market. Or let's assume that you are a fashion designer or fashion creative, as they call it now. You could say, I want my customers to say that I have the best designs. Not price now, but your focus is on design. So that's the first thing that you need to do in building your brand. Good. Now, the second thing you need to commit to is consistent delivery. Once you have defined or designed what the brand reputation should be, then you must embrace consistent delivery. A brand can only be built on consistency. If you go back to the story of Jide, remember, with his Ankara ambassadorship, he was consistent. And for you yourself or your brand, you have to be consistent. That means you have to show up in the way that you have promised your potential customers and the customers that you're serving. Now, the third thing you should know is to embrace the long-term commitment. And that's where most people get it wrong. You can't build a brand overnight. For something to become a reputation, you must commit to it long-term. You must do it consistently for a long period of time. Some of us get carried away with instances. That means you do something really good and then you assume that people can identify that with you. That's why you are projecting something and then they are looking at you that, no guy, this guy not consistent. Some people will say, I'm an intentional man, but they're only intentional during celebrations. No, an intentional man is intentional throughout the course of the year. I know some of the female audience are happy right now. No worry, and they wait for an upper front. But the key lesson here is that a brand is built over a long period of time. Consistency must be achieved over a long period of time. So there you have it. Wow, that's a mouthful. Now, a brand is a reputation. That's established. 2, you have to be consistent. That's also established. And 3, you have to embrace the long-term game. Now, if you combine all 3 together, then you're on the right trajectory. And I've loved this whole discussion about brand building and brand reputation. Now we have come to the end of today's episode. I'm sad to leave, but then let me say something. First thing first you should know is that I actually have a course on branding, which you can join. It's a 5-day course, and you can join that via piscinandfusion.org. You'll find that in the description. Now, if you want this video to show to more Nigerian entrepreneurs and the way YouTube works, that means you need to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful having you guys. Stay blessed until we meet again, where we share more brand hacks for the Nigerian entrepreneur. I remain your host, Adeola Badmus. Peace out.